I'm Mike Metzger. I am Director of Sales for PacStates. Ryan Baskharoon is our virtual CIO. He's co-hosting. First off, I just really want to say thank you to Dave and everybody here today, NCET, for having us at the Biz Cafe. It sounds like, I mean, it just heartfelt, you and yours are doing okay. Just a little bit of house cleaning. Ryan's going to keep everybody on mute, I think, and then you know how everybody knows, thanks to NC bar to unmute, and we'll stop for questions. If you'd rather do them in a chat box, Ryan will be watching that, so when we stop for questions, he can read them if you'd rather do it that way. So. A lot of the conversation in the networking half hour was, what's happening out there with your business, and I kind of kept quiet because you're going to steal my slideshow if I told you. And we're going to come from the technical side a little bit because so far you guys have done such a great job of work from home skill sets that you've presented. That I've learned from setting boundaries, and I've worked from home before, but never exclusively. I was always kind of a combination. Setting boundaries, video etiquette, and the like. So since regular phone calls are so pre-pandemic, so we're going to give you some tales from the front line a little bit, how our some of our clients took care of sending their folks home. And then, kind of what we've been doing the last couple of weeks and seeing what they have in place and what they need to improve. It's difficult because, folks have different skill sets. Some are very technologically savvy, some aren't. And I always remember when I was at a career day and at Vaughan Middle School way back when, and I was going to ask them, I had my flip chart, right? And who can tell me what the cloud does? And the kid raised his hand, and I called on him, and he said, it lets you get pictures on your phone. And I said, oh, okay, I was schooled. It's like, oh, no one cares how it does it. They just want to make sure that it's easy to use and it works. If I slip into three-letter acronyms, TLAs that we're guilty of doing sometimes, give me that face down mask, please, Deb. And I'll try not to do that. We'll try and not keep it techie. I do not even want to begin to compare IT work. Well, how many people support IT? Anybody do IT support? If you're here, then go. Yeah, get back to work. What are you doing here? My brother works in Orange County, California, and he does environmental inspections at COs. There's an acronym, Central Office Switching Stations. So he's out and about a bit, but this is the field tech's parking lot, and someone hung that there, a month ago or so, because I was afraid of this too, because this slide deck is so 5 days ago, right? Things have been changing so fast. But we've been out in it. We've repaired a paging system in a hospital and did a wireless bridge for another hospital for a triage center that thankfully they haven't needed to use yet. And we've been really busy, like you, Dean, helping our clients, getting their staffs home. And a lot of the IT guys and gals have been working 10, 12 hours a day. One was tasked to send 400 people home in a day. One was sending laptops home with Windows 7 on it, gasp. A call center was tasked with 2,500 calls a day, and they felt really terrible because they'd wait forever and then get hung up on. Nonprofit said that we're trying not to become a statistic. So there's these have been the clients have kind of become friends a little bit. A lot of success stories. We had one small company that took everything to the cloud a few months ago, and his best producer or salesperson when the COVID broke out, he wanted to move back to California, take care of his parents, and he could, and the business is thriving. So that's a cool thing. This is LA. I think that's MacArthur Park. Looking west, that's a marine layer out there. And, you know, I always said that Los Angeles was a beautiful city right after a hard rain. And if you look, and then if it is during the winter too, if you look east, you can see the snow on the San Gabriel Mountains. It's beautiful. Anyway, my brothers still live down there and work down there. And I asked them, what's the worst part of living in Southern California? And they say traffic. You know, what if we could cut it down by a third, right? There's slides. I've seen slides that say 35 to 42%. So it must be true, right? So does this look familiar to anybody? So let's do this. Oops. Hang on. Oh, you know what? There we go. Thank you. Go ahead, take the poll. And this isn't really fair because a lot of you guys work from home anyway, so. This is cool. I gotta admit. So you should be doing this, Ryan, right? If we're doing really efficiently here. So we have 35% yes 100% of the time, 20% most of the time, 45% some of the time, 0% heck no, get me out of here. So that's encouraging. That's kind of what I thought I'd see. So we've got about 30 or 40 of these slides. Just kidding. This is like the flip chart, right? Who cares? And you know, we're all voice guys, but this could be any endpoint. It could be any PC, you know, or any laptop or smart device. Where's the server, right? This is equipment rooms. Everybody had equipment rooms, or they have them co-located in a data center. But they're their servers. You know, you maintain them. It gives you great flexibility. There's a lot of challenges for having these devices be remote. Virtual private network, another 3-letter acronym. Gateways, there's equipment involved, there's hardware involved, border controllers. You know, we have ours in a co-location, some of our servers, and it creates challenges for us. You know, we're kind of cobbler's kids with holes in our shoes sometimes, and security as well, versus taking, you know, directly to a cloud provider. You can see it is so dependent upon local bandwidth, Dean, that you brought up, and we'll talk about that a little bit. You can see it's a much simpler. Ryan B, jump in.
Yeah, absolutely. So everything is great when you're dealing with premise-based or even cloud-based. It all depends on what your business is set up as. But for me, most importantly, is security, is making sure that you have the right security protocols in place, policies and procedures, so on and so forth. My biggest thing is I head our cybersecurity division for PacStates and the IT. So my job is to make sure that we plug up those holes and we make sure that the network is secure. So if you do decide to go either way, you know, you can always let us know. And but yeah, as far as education, just making sure that you have the right protocol. The SIP sessions for the cloud base on the firewalls, making sure that you have everything set up. We've been doing it for a really long time. So, but yeah, cloud and premise base is yeah, very good stuff to go through either way. A lot of us right now, we took our phones home, right, Mike? So we're using our phones at our house, and it's disconnected into the internet, which makes life so much easier. But.
So, oh, does anybody have any questions? Any questions? Speak up. Feel free. Hit spacebar. So I just added this slide because this is what we do, a lot of what we do for a living. We call it the blue swirl. We're not really objective about it, but we think nobody does it better. And the only reason I show that is because this is what happens on the left when sales gets involved. This is my house. And one of the stories, I get the upstairs, the wife gets the downstairs. And one of the stories I shared with an IT client, he said, the worst part of this is my wife now knows what I do for a living. And so that's why Allison made me, along with a little nameplate, there's a little sign that it says "Be nice." Just nice. Geez, Mike. So what I have here, this wire is really just for the phone, right? And you have to have a power injector for it, which we're in short supply there for a while. This is the phone that I actually brought from my desk. This is obviously my laptop, but you don't really need this. You can have a soft phone here and just use the headset and the mic. And finally, obviously, my smart device. So, like for instance, for the Zoom meeting, I got to make sure I put myself in a meeting over here, right? So this doesn't ring when I'm in a different meeting over here while I'm texting one of my salespeople. So the days get crazy, right? Best practices: get a nice camera. Dave, sounds like you just got a nice new one. Have a nice headset. Do a speed test. I'm sure everybody on this call has done one. If you haven't, just Google speed test. Make sure you've got the internet that Spectrum or AT&T says you have. If you are not getting that speed, then there's an issue, right? It could be the router, it could be your wireless. Are you in a brick office? It could, and if it's not one of those, it could be the provider, and so it's all bandwidth. Bandwidth is what makes all this possible. So I made sure that no one was on Zoom downstairs while Allison was not on Zoom downstairs while I'm doing this. All right. So this is my soft phone. This is the new in and out board. So there's no reason for me to call Michael Bias when I know he's on the phone. Sarah, if this was a live demo, I didn't want to do a demo, you guys, but if it would tell me what's going on, I can right click and alert when available. Like you get a little toaster pop up. I call that my stalker mode, especially when the techs are busy and I have to ask them a question. The integration, right? These are collaboration tools. The integration of your Outlook, instant messaging, and these, it's a little more old school voicemails or WAV files that can be forwarded or saved in your history. Again, I can spend an hour on this, but I won't. We will be showing tomorrow at the same time, RingCentral, another one of the products we represent, is going to have a webinar like this, a little more sales oriented. If you're interested, Ryan will text the link in the chat. And also, one of the things I wanted to talk about here is people working from home. All of these tools, I shouldn't say all of them, never say ever, never say all of them. The Mitel and RingCentral tools that we represent, and other tools, obviously Zoom, etc., have management. You know who's on and who's not, and who's doing what. And I've always found as a manager that what your gut is usually correct. But you do have the recording and reporting tools. So some more stuff. I know we were talking about Zoom earlier. They created a partner program about a month before the pandemic hit, and we became a partner. And so they're kind of putting it together, and they were doing their partner launches as the pandemic was happening, and it was crazy. That's where I heard that they said we went from a noun to a verb in 2 weeks, and part of the reason why the security was an issue is because it was so darn easy. So that's but they've tightened up that quite a bit, and it's been vetted by a couple of our clients. It's really kind of funny because the sales folks that are involved, they're all in these. When they turn their background off, they got these little apartments in San Jose, it's in the Bay Area somewhere. It's like, oh my gosh, these little apartments that are costing them an arm and a leg. So, and then obviously Teams, more of an enterprise, not necessarily enterprise, but larger organizations. It's a tool that's if you haven't used it in large organizations, chances are you will, and allows a lot of the same functionality and a great collaboration tool. And Office 365, because heck, paper is so pre-pandemic. So this is what we're spending a lot of our time integrating for folks. Ryan, you want to add anything to this?
Yeah, how important it is. 365 is actually a wonderful tool. I don't know who's been working with it or not, but when you work with 365, that's what I've been doing for the last month and a half, is transitioning companies last minute from being premise-based to actually getting everything up in the cloud. So we're moving all of their file servers. We're moving and creating it into their SharePoint servers and allowing them to be able to sync that up with their OneDrive. So now they can take their files wherever they're at, phone, laptops, home. We secure their PCs or their laptops with endpoint protection, antivirus protection. And if they really need to be secure, we would just add a VPN or a remote software that we can help them with. So 365 gives you so much more, especially when you're using Teams, because Teams allows you to have channels that you can have for each client where you can upload documents. I'm not going to go into a big training or get too technical overview. So Teams just gives you a much bigger platform to be organized and efficient with your coworkers and teammates with the company. And then you also have internal video conferences that you can use with Teams. That's what the school districts uses, is Teams to do their conferences. And but it works really well together, which I think in essence, when you put them together, you can have a really good platform in the cloud to where you don't have to rely on a premise system to where you're now locked in at the office. So this is where we're having this presentation now, where you can actually bring your business to your house and be able to work comfortably from your own home and business as usual. So
that 35 to 42%, right? I think I'll speak for myself. I got to be a little careful of getting Zoom fatigue. And you know, part of that is the fact that, you know, there used to be drive time, where, you know, you never set appointments back to back to back, and now you can. So you got to be real cautious of that. I'm speaking to myself more than anybody else, I think. So I just kind of pulled this off. Anybody back in the office yet? We're all working from home. So I have a brother-in-law works in state government in Olympia, Washington, and what they're going to be doing is they'll all come in one day to meet, and then they'll have staggered schedules, is what they're planning on doing, 2-3 people from each office. And hopefully the school district and everybody figures it out here. But this is just kind of an interior design. I thought this was kind of fun and interesting, in that this carpet is 6 feet, so 2 meters, 1.5 meters. So in designs, 50% less space. Obviously, guards between the cubicles, so the cube farm will probably go away. I thought that was kind of fun. Another technology that we've always done, we do surveillance cameras, and they've always had infrared, you know, for outdoor cameras to, you know, determine what it is that they may or may not want to film. And this is, you know, I don't know, this is a little premature, but I mean, when they start talking about the casinos opening June 1st, this is something that they're doing with these cameras now. Sorry about the hip music. But yeah, so it's pretty interesting. And of course, if it's not accurate, I mean, it's just to be a screener. And then they would have, so I don't know how redundant it'll be if they're just going to actually take actual temperatures as you walk in. So we'll have to see how that goes and throw that out to anybody else. So the funny thing on those cameras, which is really interesting, is that they're manufactured in China and South Korea. So thought that was pretty interesting. anyway, our meetings with clients usually end with more questions than answers. That's why I said attempted answers. I think I joked before in the networking that I can't believe how many times I said I don't know the last couple of weeks. And there's usually, technology is always like, layers of an onion. You peel back one layer, there's another question there. Measure twice, cut once, and the answer often depends on what the questioner means. So we'll leave it at that. And anybody want to jump in and ask a question of Ryan or I, will do our best to attempt an answer.
Hey, Mike and Ryan, good presentation. Thanks for all the information. I really appreciate it. And
hey, no worries.
Yeah, part of what you were talking about, I just uploaded a link to Cushman & Wakefield site. It talks about the new workplace, the 6-foot distance in the office. So because everybody just got an impression of what some companies are thinking about and how to do that. So that's some information out there for people to check.
Thanks, Eric. Appreciate that. Well, I got everybody out in a hurry today. Sorry about that. Or you should be thankful for that, maybe. I'm not sure.
So somebody comes to you and says, I want to transition from a in-person to virtual work environment. How long does it take from the start of the process till the end of the process?
Well, it depends on what their infrastructure is, Dave. Some folks with old systems just basically remote call forwarded to their cell phone, right? And that was a simple fix. But in terms of doing it correctly, pretty quick. It really depends. We've done it we've been working our guys, and it's slowed down a bit now because most people have already accomplished what they wanted to. It's kind of gone from react and respond to reset, sort of, kind of, so now they're looking at it longer term. But I'm a white collar professional. My favorite plant is a hedge. I mean, I can get signed up with Zoom. I can get you signed up with Zoom in minutes, right? So but as far as actually doing it correctly, it really depends on what infrastructure you have now and how we can deploy off of it. Ryan, you want to touch to that on as far as data?
Sure. Yeah. So as far as the data and how the system works, I've done. There's a real estate company that called me out of the blue and said, "Hey, we need to look at VPN or we need to go to the cloud." And I sat down with them, went over some different options, and our best solution was coming to going right to 365. So I converted their whole system, all their file servers over, and we did it over a weekend. And it was about 130 gigabytes of data that we transferred up into the cloud for their file server, and then being able to then sync everything up with their OneDrives, and business was usual. They were very happy. They even gave us a nice little referral when it came to that. But as far as time, it all depends on how much data that you're trying to transfer into the cloud, and it all depends on your bandwidth, which we can help out with that too. So if you have terabytes of data, 365 probably is not going to be your best bet, just because SharePoint doesn't work very well when you're uploading a lot of data. There's a local company that does document management here in Reno, and they were using SharePoint to try to do, I don't know, terabytes of data, and just SharePoint would just kept on crashing on them and wasn't working properly. So, but most companies, small businesses that we deal with, are anywhere between 80 to maybe 500 gigs of data. That's truly what they're using, and that would take a little bit of time. So again, it all depends on your company and how you have it set up. We can duplicate your file structure to allow you to be able to do business as usual. And I think that's the most important piece, is not making it change it so much to where you have to learn something new. It's being able to educate the client and be able to show them that it's the same process, but now it's just a different looking link or a different looking folder that you have to click on. And then everything else after that works works the same. You just double click, open up your files, you drop it in where you need to. You can save your attachments in your emails the same place you would before. You just go into your OneDrive and then you download it into whatever file folder that you need to. So, but yeah, it all depends on the client.
And just to add to that, Dave, the service providers are working really hard to get it out there. They're offering a lot of promotions and moving as quickly as they can.
What are the data security implications of having literally millions of people suddenly working from home?
Ryan, I'll let you address that.
One more time, Dave. I'm sorry, I was answering the chat.
What are the data security implications of having literally millions of people suddenly working from home over Wi-Fi and home routers and things like that?
Oh, yeah, I knew you were going to ask that question. So this is how I look at that situation is, if the company is providing you with a laptop, then that laptop should have, I'm hoping, endpoint security, which is your cybersecurity protection. You have antivirus protection. But most important, you can't have firewalls at every person's home and setting up VPNs at every person's home. There's a company that we were dealing with. They had 400 employees they had to send home, and he had to set up this remote software for every single one of them. And I'm just like, I'm pulling my hair out of my head going, man, I couldn't believe that he had to do 400 within a weekend and try to get all this done within that matter of time and make sure that they're secure. So we use different software. So our platform that we use is LogMeIn Pro, which allows for us to build a portal, an internet portal that uses two-step authentication or multi-factor authentication to allow you to log in, and then it logs into your desktop at home. I mean, at the office, excuse me, I apologize, at the office. So now you don't really have to worry about security at home because all it is a web browser that you're remoting from, and it's already secure. It's an encryption. The downside to that is if your computer is already hacked at home, someone can see what you're doing and they can then, get into your stuff. So making sure that your home computer has the right security software on it is very important. Utilizing the right routers that have software firewalls built in, like the ASUS, the higher end ASUS routers do have from Trend Micro, the AI protection. So it gives you a little bit of protection as far as it's better than just having the ISP's router in there because they don't have any protection at all. Most computers, when you purchase them, they have the McAfee or the Symantec. Me personally, don't suggest either one of those. There's a lot other bigger players out there that don't use as much resources and take as much bandwidth from your computer.
What?
And we can take we can talk about that afterwards. I hate to bother everyone with all that information. So
Maybe when we get to the end, if you could talk a little bit about that, because I suspect a lot of people are using McAfee or the other one.
Symantec?
Norton.
Yeah, Norton Symantec. So the tools that I've had access to, especially with being in cybersecurity, is Trend Micro actually has a great product. You have SentinelOne that has a great product. Kaspersky's not bad for home. I like Sophos actually has Intercept X is one of the best, I think, in the market. They actually have the software and it communicates with their hardware. So especially for businesses, that's another one of our partners we work with. SentinelOne is another, it's an AI-based endpoint protection that we work with. Cylance is owned and operated by BlackBerry. If all of you know that BlackBerry is one of the most secure email companies when they first came out with BlackBerry. That was why BlackBerry was so amazing. It was because they actually were able to have all these big businesses be able to be secure with their product because of their back end. They were able to secure all of that. But most importantly, there's a million products out there. Don't use the free stuff, please. Please do not use the free products. Pay the money to get something that's going to work. AVG, please don't use it. There's Panda. There's a whole bunch of products. they're good, but they're not going to do the trick. There's so many products, it's hard, Dave, to kind of go over all of them. But the top ones that I would suggest is the Sophos Intercept X. That's a great product. They actually have it for the mobile phones too. It works really well. I have it on my own mobile phone. You have the Sentinel One. That one, I'm not sure if you can get it on your own. You have to go through a provider to get that, or from a reseller, because they want you to buy like 25,000 licenses in order for you to be able to get those licenses. So you have to go through a reseller. WebRoot's actually a really good antivirus product. That's what we use on ours. A lot of people don't say that WebRoot has some vulnerabilities, but a lot of people don't know. I've talked to their head engineer. I've worked with them with my background, and they are actually the ones that have the largest database for antivirus, and they're the ones that sell their database to all the other antivirus companies. So that's something to think about when dealing with the companies. You have the company that does all the research. They're the ones that are updating their database consistently, and then being able to offer that to some of the other software providers out there for antivirus. What other questions do you guys have in regards to that, if any?
I put one in the chat. I use Slack and Google Basecamp very successfully. What do you think of either one, Ryan?
I'm a big Google fan. I used to do the Google Suite before jumping into the 365, and Google's always been great. A lot of people don't like Google because of them taking data, and I'm like, if you're on Facebook, your data's already being taken. I mean,
everybody takes data.
Right? So, I mean,
let's face it.
You can click it and uncheck check all the boxes saying that you don't want to participate and all that, but that data is stored somewhere.
Right.
And unfortunately, Facebook has been hit with it, where they've been selling their information back to the government or giving them access to that information. So I'm not going to get into politics. So, but yeah, as far as Google, love Google. Slack, I hear, is a great product. I haven't personally used it, but I know Jen uses it. Debbie says she uses it and loves it.
Yeah, I've used both of them. Basecamp is very good though, too.
I've used Basecamp. I think Basecamp gets messy, and so does Teams for me. Yeah, Dean's agreeing. Like,
yeah, Teams is clunky. It's Microsoft.
I don't know. See, it's great for me because I don't know who makes anything or who I freaking hate Teams. I think it's a disaster. And Basecamp, you can navigate once you learn the system and set everything up in a task, but I wouldn't choose it. I love Slack. I think it's much more streamlined. And I used another one too. I can't think of, but I really liked it. Yeah, Teams. I will not miss that or ever look for it again.
Well, Teams. So Teams. I love Teams. So Teams is more for internal. It's not. It wasn't really meant for external, to allow people in or out. It was supposed to be for internal teams to be able to communicate with each other and have one platform to be able to upload and communicate with your internal teams. So your sales teams could have your own sales channel and then be able to upload your documents, anything that you needed to share with your internal team, you can upload and communicate and be able to do internal video conferencing with your team. So if you had a team across the country, but you're all on the same domain, so if Mike was in New York and I'm here in Reno, we can actually get on a video conference call, as simple as that, because he's in our AD, he's in our Active Directory. So it is super simple and it works beautifully. I've shown Mike this plenty of times. I actually helped his wife be able to do Teams with the school district and kind of gave her a walkthrough and showed her how to use it. It works really well when you know how to use it to its extent, but trying to use it outside and bringing people in, there's a lot of settings you have to go on the back end and through the administrator portal to be able to open it up. But then even then it's still difficult because there's no easy way of saying, I want to invite this person. I have to copy, put in an email and send it out to somebody. So when you're dealing with video conferencing, honestly, Zoom is probably the easiest and it works almost flawlessly every single time. I've never had an issue with Zoom not work. It records, it shares screens. The only thing with sharing is when you share and you move to a different screen or you're trying to bring something else on, it pauses. And,
Yeah,
and that's
sure
the
is that.
only hiccup that it has. So
Yeah. But Basecamp works actually very well too. It does exactly what you said, Ryan.
so it's like Teams.
Yeah,
It's a
it's better. It's
collaboration tool,
actually
basically.
better. It's easier to use from what I have.
Everything Google works easier. Sorry.
I know, and it's Google, hello.
Oh, Basecamp is Teams. I just still don't think it's still not my favorite.
Oh, to each his own.
Yeah, well, yeah, absolutely.
Jen, we'll have that discussion after the meeting.
Yeah, bring it.
Oh, that's good times. Anyone else has any questions? I'm trying to look at all the different chats here and trying to answer what I can. If not, you don't have to use the chat. You can just ask me directly or Mike directly, and we'll be able to ask or answer any questions that you guys have. To me, this is important because any questions that you have, especially when it comes to security or questions about software or how your company should be set up, we're resources. Use us. That's what we're here for, just like Jen said.
What do you see the trends in companies providing the equipment, computers and things like that to people at home versus having them use their own?
Well, that's a tough question, Dave, because it all depends on the company. It depends on what their budget is. It depends on, so we can get equipment for customers. We've actually done that. That's what we've done a lot of actually, is we bought the computers for the client, set them up, and then we gave it to them, set it up on their network, and then gave it to the employees so they can work at home.
Yeah.
So we can do that, but it all depends on the customer's budget. Everything all revolves around a budget. Everyone that now they're not making, see the problem is they're not getting the income coming in from their clients because everyone was shut down. So now it's like, what do we do? Use your own PC. Well, we have a solution for that too. They want to use their home PC. Well, we can still get you connected into your work desktop and work just like you were working at your desk. So we have that solution, and it's very, very inexpensive. Very inexpensive. Even during the COVID, in the beginning portion of this, we had free security, endpoint security protection software that we were offering. We had remote software that we were offering through ConnectWise that was free until June 1st. So we had the solutions. It's just trying to find, there's only one of me and one of our other tech, Scott. So we were like running with our heads cut off trying to figure out how we're going to get all this done. And I think we did an exceptional job. Maybe Mike can contest. We've been running pretty rampant quite often, but again, it really falls under what type of budget that the client has. If they have a very small budget, then we can use their personal laptops at home. Everyone has a computer at home, or even possibly a tablet, but who wants to work on a tablet? So I mean, to me, that's very difficult. But even if you had to get a Chromebook, even if you had to get a very inexpensive laptop, $200, $300, $400, even if it's refurbished, that's better than not being able to work and be efficient, especially if you're able to collect money from your clients that are still in business and not being held ransom at home.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Ryan?
Yes, sir.
So Zoom is the leader in this teleconferencing thing. What about RingCentral and GoToMeetings and all those other ones? What do you think of those?
No, absolutely. Michael can probably touch base on the RingCentral side of things, and probably Mike, do you have?
Oh, it's a great product. They're the 800-pound gorilla. That you've probably heard their 4 guitar chords. They strum a guitar chord. It's become as ambiguous as the AT&T right. So they've been doing it the longest. They have a great platform, and it's about as close as you can get to an easy to use all-in-one. They have video. They actually have Zoom. They've had Zoom embedded. White labeled. They are going to their own video platform. They probably don't want to pay Zoom anymore for it. But I mean, they actually do full SMS, which, it's called pivoting, right? So, and again, the relative savvy of who our clients are. Some people want to call on the phone. Some people, most younger folks just text, right? So it's a single interface that allows you to do all of that. It's a great platform, and we're going to be showing it tomorrow forward. I think it's in the chat box. The link is there, or go to our Facebook page and register if anybody's curious. But yeah,
I'll go ahead and Yeah, I'll go ahead and put the link back in there again.
Thank
'Cause
you.
There's
Yeah.
a lot of chats going on.
Yeah, I missed it.
There is the link.
Great. I
And Dean,
clicked on it.
and Dean, thanks for all a lot of the feedback. I appreciate that. Well, yeah, so I think going back to our original, the new norm, right? That's everyone's going back to work, but I think even at our own company, I don't think we're gonna be able to work more from home because I'm productive at home than I am at the office because I'm not socializing. I can plan my day so much better at home because I've already worked at home. I have the mindset to be able to work from home. Now, the people that don't have the mindset, that's where you're like, is the productivity going down or going up? And are you getting the things done or you're not getting the things done? And those are the ones that need to come back to the office and work because then someone's able to watch over their shoulder and be like, hey, you need to get this done. But I mean, I'll be honest with you, I get so much more done because there's no distractions. I don't have children or anyone else at the house, so I'm able to focus on all my meetings and get all that done. And being able to use, we are set up. We've been trying to push this technology for years. No one wanted to do it. Unfortunately, we had to force them. Not us, but the COVID pandemic forced everyone to rely on technology, which now opened a lot of businesses' eyes as why am I paying for a brick and mortar? My dad owns a small business here in Reno, and bless his soul, in October he moved his whole company to work from home, transitioned everybody, got rid of his $4,000 rent that he was paying and moved everyone home. So that's a savings that he was saving every month for this huge office that he didn't need to pay for. And he's all in the cloud and everything works amazing. So some companies can do that. A lot of companies can't because they have a storefront. So, I mean, there's always ways of being able to do it. It just depends on how comfortable you feel sending your employees home. So.
Ryan, I agree with you. I'm so much more productive at home because I don't have children. I don't have pets. Nobody talks to me when they come make a cup of coffee where the coffee pot's near where I'm sit when I'm in the showroom. I don't have to travel. I can get way more business done.
Well, and the nice thing about that too, Debbie, is you can get up anytime you want to and start your day.
Yeah.
Like I don't have to, I can get up at 6 in the morning and I can start working on something and just keep track of my time and get off early or even work later because so again, it just depends on the work that you have and how if you're hourly, of course, you're not going to be able to wake up at 6 and work until 8 o'clock at night. I don't think your employer is going to be too happy about that, but it all depends on what your arrangement is with your company. So if anyone wants to register for the RingCentral, which I think is going to be a great presentation tomorrow, I added a link to the chat for everyone to click on and register. So the more the merrier. They're actually giving out a $15 Grubhub. Woo-hoo. Delivery to your front door. Gotta love it. So anyways, is there any other questions? Dean, I'm trying to read all the stuff that you posted on there, so I'm trying to get to all that and answer questions. So I appreciate all that you do, sir. Thank you. Is there anything else? Mike, you have anything to add?
I'll just again, thanks for having us. Hopefully it was educational and entertaining.